Susan Smith has a list of ways that she thinks she's going to get sent home, and one of them is framing herself as a victim. We're going to talk about it in today's video. Hello Sofa Squad and welcome back to the sofa. Y'all, we're on a real sofa today, okay? Now this isn't my sofa, but it is puppy proof. You see the boys' little bed here and whatnot. We're visiting, we're at a friend's house, and the puppies are actually right over there in their little homes eating their food. We have been playing and I've been posting pictures of their social media. So they're over there, they'll probably join us here in a few minutes. But what I wanted to do is talk about an update today. Now this is in relation to the Susan Smith case. If you are familiar with this over the years, you know she has been incarcerated. This is the woman who took the life of her two small children by drowning them in her car, pretending that she was carjacked, and sending the nation on a chase, a heartbreaking, gut-wrenching chase, only to find out that she had submerged them, on a boat ramp, watched them succumb to their end, and then lied about it, and it was all over a man, okay? So, that being said, this is not a deep dive into it, but rather this is an update about her potential parole, not her potential. She's gonna be up for parole. And so we've been getting updates and hearing from people related to the case along the way. And so there's a few more things that have come out today that as I was reading my daily stuff, I was like, I've got to talk about this one. Now the first thing you're going to see on the screen is from the New York Post. We're just going to look at the headline here together. It says, Mom Susan Smith will argue she should be paroled because she's been mostly well behaved. Just let me live my life. This is by Steve Helling, published September 24th. Now let's go ahead down to the second one. Now you are going to see the little boys, they have joined us over here. He is done eating. But you'll see on the screen here, it says Susan Smith in prison for the cold-blooded 1994 unalivings of her two young sons has a parole hearing in just 6 weeks. Remember, this is being recorded on the 26th of September. This was published on the 24th. And it does say, the family members say she has come up with at least 4 arguments, okay, that she will make as she bids for her freedom. And it says she believes she might be a free woman in less than 2 months, and she's hoping the parole hearing will go her way. She's put all her hopes in that basket, and she's manifesting her freedom. Cannot roll my eyes hard enough. I mean, honestly, y'all, she needs to be manifesting something else, okay? This is one of those cases that absolutely infuriates me. I'm sorry, it does. I'm sure a lot of you probably can agree with that. But let's go on to the third one here. Now, it says the Post learned that Smith, 52, plans to argue that she grew up in an SA household that skewed her understanding of right and wrong. She has a different moral compass than other people because of her trauma, the relative said. It really did a number on her. This was a huge dynamic during her trial that she utilized to her benefit, and obviously she still is using it to her benefit. Now, this is not to say that if something like this takes place in a household with someone's life, that obviously that trauma is going to do something to you, right? I get that. But to hide behind what she did with this does damage to other people who are victims, in my opinion, right? Because this is absolutely next level, and we're actually going to read an update, an opinion piece from an author that wrote a book about her, so God, knows her very well, knows her story, and she'll say, nope. She does not ever need to go free, okay? This was such a heinous crime. So again, it's just very infuriating that she tries to hide behind the, I'm a victim. I mean, what about your 2 boys, right? But let's keep going for now. Now it says, secondly, that she's going to argue that she wasn't in her right mind as a young mom, and she may have suffered from an undiagnosed mental illness. In my opinion, she's trying to go with the Andrea Yates thing right there. She saw how that worked. Mind you, she didn't bring it up at the time. It's not going to, okay? But she's had, obviously, a lifetime to come up with these things. Now, it says here she was a 22-year-old mom when she let her car roll into John D. Long Lake in Union County, South Carolina, with her boys, 3-year-old Michael and 14-month-old Alexander. strapped into their car seats. If you are old, whether you're old enough or not, but especially if you're old enough to have lived through that and remember this unfolding, and the reason I say, like, if you're old enough or whatever, obviously it's still shocking and heartbreaking no matter how old you are, but the context of things, back then we didn't have viral stuff, we didn't have a lot of heinous stuff. When this took place, for a mother to get on camera and do what she did, concoct the story that she did, the fake tears, all of it, right? And then to find out the heinousness of what really went down, I'm talking, this was unheard of, okay? It was insane. So let's keep going though. So it says that it's an argument Smith has used before. I'm not the monster society thinks I am, she wrote in a letter from jail to reporters in the Slate in 2015. Something went very wrong that night. I was not myself. There was no motive, as it was not even a planned event. I was not in my right mind. Again, right mind or not, and we'll hear from the author that talked about it, the fact that she strapped those boys in, rolled the car in. Do you know how long it probably took them to succumb to that? Do you know that what she would have had to have seen, their last images, their last thoughts? I mean, think about what those boys' existence came down to. And then this woman has the gall to say this stuff. Now, also, that little clip from Court TV, we're gonna get to that in a second, but she lowers the bar even further from what her husband tells us, but let's continue for now. Now, the next one says that Smith will also bring up the fact that she was disciplined in 2000 for having adult relations with 2 guards while behind bars. She has always maintained that the adult activities were not consensual due to the differing power dynamics. I was a victim, she told a friend on the outside in 2023, according to documents obtained by the Post. I had adult relations with them because I didn't feel like I had a choice. I'm going to keep my mouth shut. Finally, Smith plans to argue that she has turned her life around behind bars, according to records obtained by the Post. She has held down a steady job and has had no disciplinary actions against her in nearly a decade. I mean, I'm literally laughing at this, y'all. I'm sorry. This is laughable, okay? I hope the parole board, the board sitting there, when she brings this stuff up, literally knee-slapping laughs in her face to start with, and then shames her back to her cell. I've held down a steady job and no disciplinary actions against her in nearly a decade. Y'all, but if you've been following this case over the years, the disciplinary actions that she has had, no, honey, she's up to the same stuff, okay? This is an insanely manipulative human being. Insanely manipulative, okay? However, she has had several infractions, including 2010, 2015, for having narcotics or marijuana behind bars. She's grown into a mature woman, the family member tells the Post, and she thinks she can thrive outside of prison. I'm sure she does think that, right? I have no doubt, okay? But the father of the kids whose lives she took plans to strongly contest her bid for parole. Now, we're going to watch that in just a second, the interview or whatever, but it says that David Smith, that was his name, or that is his name, I should say. He said he's either going to write something to the parole board or make a speech to oppose her release. I'm going to remind them what she did and who the victims were in the case, Smith said. Certainly not her. We can all agree on that, right? Now, it just goes into talk about that she, is located in the Leith Correctional Institution in Greenwood. And there's that. Let's go on to the next thing here. Now, the next screen here just goes into, talk about what it was. Again, the motive was having an affair with a wealthy man. He didn't want the children. It talks about the car, of course, we know that. And that she was spared the DP and given life in prison with the possibility of parole after 30 years. I mean, she's lucky to have that, right? Now, let's go into this next piece. This is an opinion piece. Again, this is another New York Post thing here. It's by Andrea Pacer, published September 24th, 2024. And it says, I know evil seductress Susan Smith well. She should never be let out of prison. Now, what I've done is just taken a couple of little highlights out of this, and we're just going to go over those real quick. So, she starts off saying she should never again breathe the free air. Back in '95, I published a definitive book about her case, Mother Love, Deadly Love, The Susan Smith Murders, HarperCollins. It was shortly after Smith confessed to drowning her two precious babies standing by the shore near John D. Lake in Union County, watching the car sink agonizingly into the water, grave with the kids, 3-year-old Michael and 14-month-old Alexander strapped into their car seats. Now, here's one thing I was thinking of with this. You know, we do our little book club on the member side. If that's something that y'all would be interested in doing, this book right here, I don't know if this is the book that I read about the case, but I've read one on it that goes into details about the motive and all her happenings around town. That's why it's literally when you start connecting the dots, I'm like, oh, nope. And you see her behavior behind prison, you can see like nothing's changed, is what I'm getting at, okay? Let's keep going. Now it says in her early 20s, Susan Smith worked as a secretary for the wealthy owner of a textile mill, J. Carey Finley. She also had an adult relationship with the boss's son, Thomas Finley. Smith was so intent on moving on from her marriage to a lowly assistant store manager to live with wealthy folks that she filed for divorce from her husband. Now it says, then Thomas wrote her a letter breaking things off, and words he would live to regret. He told his lover he did not want children. He was clearly just brushing her off, but Smith took the words to heart. It wasn't long before the two impediments to a bright future were gone. For Susan Smith, adult activities were a tool for getting what she wanted, though she later learned to blame her lovers for her problems, to remake herself as a victim of the patriarchy, of possible mental illness, not the conniving creature she is, the author writes. Her many men, of course, should be condemned for their adult indiscretions. One was Smith's own stepfather, whom Smith pursued as a way to punish her mother, okay? This writer honestly has her down to a T. Okay, now those are all the little updates I put there. Now what I want to do is go watch David Smith, the father of her children, his little quick clip from Court TV, and then we're going to talk about it. So let's watch that.
David, how do you feel about Susan wanting you to advocate for her prison release?
I think it's absurd. I can't comprehend that she even thinks that I would advocate for her.
When was the last time you talked to her?
It was about a month after she confessed and was arrested. I saw her at a prison in Colombia where she was being held at the time.
Mm-hmm. Has she tried to contact you since then, rather?
No, I've had no contact with Susan since that one time. We spoke for about an hour that day, and I haven't talked to her since.
Okay, couple of things here. First of all, yeah, I loved hearing him say this, like the fact that she thinks that he even would say something. But then the other thing, he's not even talked to her since then. This is what I'm talking about, the audacity for her to want him to advocate for her to get out. And it's like, okay, here we'll get into some of my thoughts on with the whole thing now. So here's the thing, absolutely people can change, right? 100%. Mess up, reinvent yourself, do horrible things, whatever, I get that. I'm not trying to say that's not possible. But in this situation, let's even take aside what she did, right? That it was her children, the heinousness, the line, all that, right? Let's say that David came up here and was talking about, you know what? I've been in touch with her every single day since then. She has absolutely changed. She has done boom, 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 boom. You know, so I'm going to speak in her favor. Okay, now obviously we know that's not the case, okay? And then when you get into the heinousness of it, it's like, well, even if he said that, it doesn't matter, okay? You know what I'm saying? Like, this was so horrendous, and the motivation behind it, you know. One of the things that I think Susan tried to ride the coattails of was many things. Number one, I mean, first of all, if you remember, she blamed the carjacking on a black man. She blamed this on that, mental health, all this type of stuff. Well, remember, Andrea Yates, like I said, Susan has had a lifetime to come up with stuff. And like the author said, she blames everybody else for her stuff, but yet she uses things as a weapon and whatnot. So with Susan, she's had this lifetime, and she sees like, oh, Andrea Yates, or this or that, or numerous cases. I mean, think about how many things she's probably witnessed. So she tries to hide behind this. The fact that she would even think it would be okay to utter the words, I was a victim. You know, I didn't have a choice with those officers in the adult situations or whatever. And again, in a normal situation, and now, okay, so I'm switching the script over to what Susan said about having adult relations with the guards, okay? In a normal situation, I would 100% agree that there is an imbalance of power there and that somebody might do something and be victimized in that context. But then if you start looking at the context of their behavior, of their actions, of their crimes, of their life, that's where with Susan it's like, kind of got a pattern of this. If you've followed the case, followed this over the years, I mean, there's documentaries, they talk to some of these men and stuff like that. I mean, she destroyed their lives. I am not trying to say that they are not at fault. 100% they are. They knew what they were getting into, and they were thinking with you know what, and they were an equal contributor in that. But Susan definitely was not a victim. Okay, she knew exactly what she was doing and manipulating, right? So plain and simple, period. So hearing the husband up here, you know, he'll go on further in this interview when she's like asking him, the interviewer here, about his memory of the children. He's like, I barely have any. I mean, think about how much of a lifetime's gone by. Now remember, he's remarried. He's had a whole other life, okay? It was really shocking to me to learn that that was the only time that he's really talked to her, and ever since then, which I don't blame him, okay? But just even more in the realm of like, and she expects you to go to bat for her? She took your 2 children out in a horrendous way. Number one, I do not think that she will get paroled at all. Okay, at all. She never will. Okay, I don't care what kind of rehabilitation she's done, because at the end of the day, her behavior behind bars, I know she's trying to say, oh, I didn't have any infractions or whatever. Yes, you have, okay? And there's a plethora of guards and people that are all speaking out saying, no, she's still doing this. Do you know what kind of stuff that the deputies and stuff like that see behind, you know, closed doors, closed walls in the unit, her type behavior? And I'm talking like on a daily basis of what she might do in regards to working men to get them to send her money, working over inmates to manipulate them, that kind of stuff. They are going to be able to truly see what kind of a human being she still is. And I'm telling you, they would probably have, and some do, nothing good to say. I can appreciate that a family member might want to go to bat for her for whatever reason and stick up for her. Okay, I understand, it's family, whatever, but no, I don't see that taking place. Again, all I think about is, number one, when they pulled that car, it gives me goosebumps right now, when they pulled that car up out of the water. Now, I never saw I don't want to see the pictures of the boys still in it, but the people who were on scene that talked about that, like, it scarred them for life, okay, when they were getting those 2 little boys out of that car. And to think that she could sit there and get up there and pretend cry, come up with all the stuff that she did, knowing those images in her mind, what the car sounded like when it was rolling. Can you imagine what those little boys heard? Sitting there thinking, like, hearing the car filled up, if they even knew to be panicked, if they even knew. I mean, the 14-month-old, he wouldn't, right? Until it started to become like, oh my gosh, but they couldn't do anything, they're strapped in. The fact that she only got life with a 30-year possible parole is insane to me, okay? Insane. She should consider that lucky, right? So anyways, that's it. This, obviously it hasn't happened yet. I feel like I could almost make the video for the outcome of the parole, right? You know what I'm saying? So anyways, but let me know what you think down below. Also, let me know if y'all want to read that book for a little book club thing we do. I mean, it's not a must or anything like that, but if you are interested in this case, it's pretty fascinating to see all the inner going on around that town that took place with her at the center of it. So anyways, that's it. I do appreciate y'all. We don't have our little Roscoe shrine behind us, but do leave a little sofa down in the comment sections for Roscoe and Spirit, myself, and these 2 little shenanigans over here that are running around. And that's it. I do appreciate y'all. And until we meander a little way down into the comment section to hang out and talk about this and all these other cases, we'll see y'all soon. I just wanted to say thank you again for watching the whole video, and also thank you for being part of the Sofa Squad. Special thanks to all the Patreon members, channel members from both of my channels, everybody who likes, shares, subscribes, comments in the comment sections. It helps the channel out so much. Now, don't forget, I do have that other channel, the podcast channel. That's where we go live, we hang out, we talk. We have kind of sort of a schedule, but just be sure and check it out. I'll put it up here on the screen. Also, if you're looking for merch, be sure to check out my Teespring store. store, I'll put that up here. And then, like I said in the beginning of the video, if you want to follow me and Roscoe on the Instagram, go on, check it out. It's right here on the screen again. But once again, thank you very much. I really appreciate you being part of the Sofa Squad, and I'll see you in the next video.